Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Jay's Fifth Down Football Podcast. I am your host, Jaden, and today we're going to be going over OBJ to the Ravens. Odell finally signs with the NFL team after, being a free agent for all of 2022 after he, injured his ACL in the Super Bowl win with the Rams. Now he has a team. That's the Baltimore Ravens, who are in the midst of the whole Lamar Jackson crazy saga right now. So we'll talk about that, and we'll also talk about Carson Palmer and his comments about Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes. I'm sure you guys will love to hear this one. And then it says he Titans lock up Jeffery Simmons to a 4-year, $94 million deal. So we'll talk about that as well here on the podcast. But before we do that, make sure you guys subscribe. Check us out here on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Also, as you probably, some of you might know or might not know, I am an author now of A Good Man in an Evil World. This is my book. You can buy it on Amazon. It's available for, I believe, $12.99 on Amazon. You can also buy the Kindle version for the ebook as well. Again, this is A Good Man in the Evil World, so you guys check it out there. Make sure you guys check the book out. It's really good. But first off, OBJ to the Ravens. I thought he was going to go to the Jets, because Aaron Rodgers put out that list supposedly of who he wants on his team, with wide receivers he would like to play with if he was to get traded to the Jets. Odell Beckham was one of those names on there. Everybody thought he was pretty much going to go to the Jets, either them or the Chiefs or the Bills. But he ends up going to the Ravens of all teams. And I thought this was pretty interesting because now that makes me think that Lamar Jackson is destined to stay. Then again, we don't know. If Odell's going to play with him, I'm sure he's going to stay. He might play under the franchise tag and then just sign a big contract somewhere else in the offseason, if not Baltimore. Of course, Ravens fans don't want to hear that. But now you get to play with Odell Beckham, so they finally got themselves a number one receiver. I'd say maybe a low-end wide receiver one. Obviously, Odell is not the guy he was with the Giants years ago. That seems like, it's crazy. That seems like forever ago. Like, the one-handed catch in 2014 against the Cowboys. Like, we all remember that. I think we were all in middle school when that happened. And Odell is now 31 years old. I think he's almost 31 years old. So he's getting up there. He's still a good receiver, solid great number two receiver, a low end wide receiver one, and got this, in an offense that really it didn't have a number one wideout. Marquise Brown was supposed to be, but he wasn't. He never panned out, and they traded him to Arizona. Devin Duvernay and Miles Boykin. Those are the guys they drafted. And the Ravens use a tight end first system. They throw a lot to the tight ends mainly. They mainly throw to the tight ends, and it's a run first offense. So, but they still had never really had a good number one receiver in a long time. And now you bring in Odell for a year, so it might work there with Lamar Jackson. That's assuming that he stays in Baltimore. We don't know what he's going to do. This is taking a long time to figure out. I don't know what he's planning to do. Right now, it just seems like it's a game of chicken. Who's going to bite first? Who's going to cave in first? Are the Ravens going to cave in and give Lamar what he's asking for? Or is Lamar going to cave in and say, nobody's offering me on the market really what I want? Or, why not go back to somewhere I was familiar with in the building, the team that drafted me, the team where I won my MVP award with, we made the playoffs. Those first couple years there. So it's going to be a matter of who caves in first for the Ravens, I think. And this pickup of Odell really shows to me that, they're trying to address the wide receiver position. They want Lamar Jackson to stay. But his asking price is really high. And what he's asking for, the Ravens don't want to give it to him. He's asking for money like close to Deshaun Watson's contract, which was fully guaranteed $230 million that the Browns gave him. And we all know, how that ended up in the first year. So we'll see how they do in the future. But I don't know. I honestly, I think this is, it's Odell. He's good. He's a great receiver. He puts up good numbers when he's healthy, solid numbers when he's healthy. When he was with the Rams in 2021, he had a good year there. He would have won Super Bowl MVP if he didn't get hurt. I think. Cooper Kupp still could have went off and won it, but either it was going to be between those two. But he got injured, so Cooper Cup ended up taking that. But I think this is a great move. This is a great move by Baltimore to address the receiver position again. Bring in a veteran to that room of young receivers with Devin Duvernay and Miles Boykin, and Rashad Bateman and those guys. Along with Mark Andrews at the tight end, position, which again, like I said, the Ravens heavily use the tight ends in the passing game. I'm not going to say they're going to come out and throw like 50 times a game, right? They're not going to do that. But Todd Monken is the offensive coordinator there, unlike Greg Roman, who was the previous offensive coordinator. Monken likes to pass a lot. He did that when he was with Georgia. Last couple of years, they won 2 national championships in a row. And when he is familiar with Odell, obviously with his stint with the Browns as the offensive coordinator there for that season. So he's very, he's familiar with Odell Beckham. So that's the connection there. So I expect the Ravens offense to be a little bit different. Going into next season, you hope that these receivers can stay healthy. Duvernay, Bateman, Boykin, can they stay healthy? And I wouldn't mind them going after receiver in the draft. You got guys like Jordan Addison from UCLA and Zay Flowers from Boston College, and a lot of these guys out here, there's a lot of great receivers in this draft. So the Ravens could also address the receiver position in the draft as well, but you just need consistent production from that system. And like I said, it's not totally the player's fault because again, Greg Roman does not like to pass the ball a lot. When he does, it's mostly going to be to the tight ends, maybe to the fullbacks, not very much to the receivers, and again, it's going to be a run heavy read option, counter QB counter offense, QB draws. Those are the types of plays that they run, in Baltimore. So I'm interested to see how Odell fits here. And like I said, I don't think he would have signed there if Lamar Jackson wasn't going to come back. So but then again, we don't know. He could have just gone there, but it's seeming most realistic that Odell wouldn't go to Baltimore if he didn't have a chance to play with one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the NFL, Lamar Jackson. Let's all remember now, Lamar Jackson had won an MVP. Okay, this guy, he had 1,000 yards rushing, over 1,000 yards passing. That his second year in the league, that's when they went to the playoffs and he won that MVP award. He's been consistently up there. As far as quarterback play, when he's healthy, the only thing with Lamar is that he's not on the field all the time, and that's the only thing that concerns. That probably concerns the Ravens organization. Um, and why they're not trying to pay him all that much that he's asking for. Because he cannot consistently stay on the field he hasn't been able to do that for the last couple of years, since his breakout year in 19. And that's why a lot of the other teams are not really so open to break the bank on him because he is not like for example the Falcons. A lot of teams have been linking Atlanta to Lamar. They want Lamar Jackson. The media just kind of keeps pushing this narrative like bring Lamar Jackson to Atlanta. That's where he should go. It's the best fit for him. This and that. We would love to see Lamar. It would sell some tickets. It would get people in the stands. It would liven up the culture here a little bit more. Probably since we haven't seen it since Mike Vick was here, or even when we were on our Super Bowl run a couple years ago in 16. Like when the culture was really happy here, the fan base was ecstatic, and everybody was just happy to be a Falcons fan. But that seems like forever ago. It seems like an alternate universe um, when that was. But yeah, because look, the Falcons are in a situation where they've addressed the defense. They got these guys on defense: Jesse Bates, David Onyemata. And offensively, Drake London is going to take a step in year two. Tyler Algier has proven himself to be a starting running back in this league. The offensive line has continued to play well. They're doing great. The run blocking is great. Pass protection has continued to improve. Chris Lindstrom is all-pro guard, and they gave him a contract extension. Caleb McGarry is back as well. In the quarterback position, Desmond Ritter, he had a solid finish to his, or rather start to his rookie season when he's, because that was the only time he played. The end of the season was the start of the season for him playing football in the NFL. But he did okay. He did solid, So I want to see how he does with a full year under his belt, working with Arthur Smith in that offense, and I just don't think Lamar Jackson. I don't think they want to break the bank on him. Because again, if you open up the floodgates for a quarterback, but you still have so many other holes on your roster that you need to address, then why are you? There's no point in doing that. I don't want. I don't. That's not a good thing to do. That's you want to. You know, now the normal thing to do in the NFL is to build your team around your quarterback while he's on his rookie deal. That's when you're going to have more cap space. That's when you're able to plug in your different holes offensively, defensively. That's when ideally you want to build your team around your quarterback. But if you break the bank on somebody like Lamar Jackson, then you're not able to do that. I mean, yeah, you get to have him here, but your defense is horrible. Your your defense is horrible. You can't stop anybody because you're paying your quarterback $230 million, but you can't spend on your defense. So that's to me, that's I don't that's why the Atlanta shouldn't pursue him. But here we are. Odell's in with the Ravens. Odell goes to the Ravens now. So now Lamar Jackson has his not wide receiver number one. If he chooses to stay, I don't know if he will. We'll see what happens there. I'm interested to see how that all plays out. But yeah, so that deal is 1 year, $18 million. So is it overpay? Yeah, a little bit. I mean, he was asking for 20 million. That was supposedly Odell said that's not what he was asking for. He said that was fake. But yeah, it's a little bit of an overpay. But again, the Ravens are in a spot where they just need the production. So we'll see how that goes. Let me guys know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about this. Is Odell to the Ravens a good fit for them? Is it a good fit for him? Is Lamar Jackson going to come back because of this? We'll see. Let me know what you guys think. Next thing up is Carson Palmer, the former NFL quarterback, played for the Cardinals, the Bengals in his career. He says Joe Burrow is the better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. He recently came out and said, yeah, he said Joe is the more precise passer. He's a more precise passer. The arm strength is better. He's able to he's been so he you got one former Bengal sticking up for a current Bengal, and so I just wanted to address this, like, between Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow, who is the better quarterback? Now these two are phenomenal players. Joe Burrow is great, and Patrick Mahomes is great. Patrick Mahomes is phenomenal. He's what he can do with the football in his hands. I mean, it's just crazy. The sidearms, this, that, like all that crazy stuff. Like, I mean, I don't know. It's like he's playing like it's like he's a like, I don't know, magician out there. I don't know. It's weird. It's like stuff that you would not like want your quarterback to do. Any other team in the NFL, even college, high school, definitely not high school. Like if your quarterback is your high school or college team, and some NFL teams goes out there and tries doing that Patrick Mahomes stuff, like they're going to get pulled. They're going to get benched most likely. But Patrick Mahomes can do it and get away with it because he's just so good at it. And he's won 2 Super Bowls, 2 MVP awards, uh, 2 Super Bowl MVPs. I mean, I think to me, I'm gonna have to go with Patrick Mahomes. I think Patrick Mahomes is the better quarterback here. I mean, and look, I love Joe Burrow too. Joe Burrow's awesome. I mean, the dude is. I mean, what he did. I mean, come in LSU. We all know the story. And then he goes to the Bengals, first overall pick, and when he's been healthy. I mean, the Bengals have been to the last 2 AFC Championship games. Won one of them. Went to the Super Bowl. Lost this one this past season, right? So you can't. I'm not gonna say Joe is so far behind Patrick Mahomes. He's like right there. Then maybe you got Josh Allen's up there too. But that's a different discussion for a different day with him. But I really, like I have to disagree with Carson Palmer on this. I want to say that Patrick Mahomes is just. I mean, he's proven himself. Not to say Joe Burrow has it, but Patrick Mahomes has solidified himself as the best quarterback in the NFL. And people can say it's the offense that Andy Reid runs, and he's an offensive guru, which he is. And the play selection, the players that they build and play with. Travis Kelce. I mean, yeah, he's surrounded by phenomenal players, and what quarterback shouldn't be? That's how you win football games. That's how you succeed. That's how your offense succeeds in the NFL, in college. You have to have great players around your quarterback in order for them to be able to produce at the level that you want them to, and in order for you to win football games. And so Patrick Mahomes, He's the best core. It's just, I mean, I can't. I mean, he just is. I mean, there is no argument to me about that. He's proven himself. Again, two Super Bowls, two MVPs, two Super Bowl MVPs. I mean, he's went out there playing on a hurt ankle and all that stuff. Um, it, I have to disagree with Carson Palmer here. I say that Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. There's no question, no argument, no debate. He is. But Joe Burrow is right behind him. Joe Burrow is right there behind him. He is right there. And I really believe that Cincinnati is close. They're close to getting that Super Bowl. It's going to be hard as long as the Chiefs are in the AFC, as long as they're good like they are right now while in the AFC. But I think the Bengals can get it done. I mean, they've beaten the Chiefs before. They can definitely hang with them as they did. The last few games they played against each other have been really close. And maybe if a call here or there or a play here or there went another way, then the Bengals might have won. Against them against the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game this past season. But that's up for discussion and debate between you guys. So that's what I have to go with there. Let me know what you guys think. Is it Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow? Do you guys agree with Carson Palmer or not? Is Joe Burrow the best quarterback in the NFL, or is Patrick Mahomes the best quarterback in the NFL? Let me know what you think in the comments, please. And yeah, so. But moving on to a different note, the Tennessee Titans have extended defensive tackle Jeffery Simmons. Simmons has been signed to a 4-year, $94 million deal. So the Titans get back their All-Pro defensive tackle there. He has been a staple of that Tennessee Titans defense for a long time. He's going to continue to be. They really built their defense around him. And so for Tennessee, especially after losing the last 7 games of the regular season last year, the Titans have, and you trade away AJ Brown, off season ago. Like the Titans are in a spot where they have to. Um, the Titans are in a spot where they have to win. They've got to start, being able to get back to competing. And you can say Derrick Henry and yeah, he's great, but they need a quarterback. Is Malik Willis going to be that guy for them next year? I'm not sure. It's destined to be that way. Right now, Ryan Tannehill is not there anymore. So we're going to see what happens there. I mean, it's still a run-heavy offense with Derrick Henry. So as long as he's healthy and you have competent quarterback play, then you're in a good spot. So, but this is a great move by them locking up Jeffrey Simmons to this contract deal, because now they you don't have to worry about him walking away, and then your defense becoming less and less significant. And they made other great additions. Arden Key, outside linebacker. Harold Landry's coming back off of a torn ACL injury. So the pass rush is going to be continuing to get better and healthier. Kevin Byard back there in the secondary, right? So and they're looking for improvement in that secondary. I think that's really a position where I would want the Titans to address is the secondary. Grab you a corner in the draft. There's a lot of them here in this draft, which will be in a couple weeks. So, but yeah, they lock up Jeffrey Simmons to that big contract. So, let me know what you guys think about that. I think it was a great move. Honestly, if you look at the best defensive interior lineman, you got Aaron Donald. He's up there number one. We all know that. Then Chris Jones with Kansas City. Jeffrey Simmons, Grady Jarrett. No bias there, maybe a little bit. But that's just those are my top, interior defensive linemen. So I mean, and Jeffrey Simmons is kind of underrated too when you think about it. He doesn't get talked about much, but his impact on the field is monumental for Tennessee. So it was great they locked him up to that contract deal. So now they can move forward there in the offseason, and hopefully they can get back to their winning ways. So, but that'll about wrap us up for the podcast today, guys. Thank you for watching and listening. On Spotify or on YouTube, of course. So make sure you subscribe and check us out. Share it with your friends. And one more time, remind you guys, I am an author. I've now published my first book, A Good Man in an Evil World, now available for purchase on Amazon. Also available in Kindle ebook version, but this is the paperback right here. You can get your own copy. On Amazon.com, just search up A Good Man in an Evil World or my name right here, Jack Gay. You can look up my name and find me there as well. So please make sure you guys support, share this with your friends. My first writing as an author. I'm pleased to have done this. It was great. It was fun doing it, and there's many more to come. So would appreciate you guys' support there, and thank you. Have a great rest of your week.